Hello. Suburbicon is a new movie directed by George Clooney, his sixth behind the camera, but he doesn't appear in it. Instead, the leading role, that of a seemingly average white-collar worker living in bland American suburbia in the 1950s, is played by Matt Damon, wearing spectacles and a look of bland innocence. In fact, Damon's Gardner Lodge is far from innocent, as we soon discover. He lives with his blonde wife Rose, Julianne Moore, who is crippled as a result of a car accident where Gardner was the driver, and their 11-year-old son Nicky, Noah Jupe. Rose's twin sister Margaret, a brunette, also played by Julianne Moore, is a regular visitor. One night there's a home invasion. A couple of bad guys, Glenn Fleshler and Alex Hassel, whose behaviour seems very strange, tie up and chloroform the three lodges. Rose never recovers, and this is where the story really starts. It doesn't take much to guess that we've entered into classic film noir territory, especially when Margaret moves in and does a Kim Novak with the blonde hair dye. There's an insurance scam going on, and the film's best scenes involve an insurance investigator in a brown suit, winningly played by Oscar Isaac, whose sixth sense tells him something's not right. Nor does it come as much of a surprise to discover that Suburbicon is based on an old screenplay by the Coen brothers, written at about the time of Fargo, which was another film, of course, that deals with a duplicitous husband who becomes involved in a dodgy plot to change his circumstances for the better. The new film has quite a few surprises up its sleeve, and neatly manages both the suspense, as bodies start to pile up, and the jet-black humour. But it's no Fargo. Unlike that classic, it pulls too many punches. Seemingly in an effort to make the material more relevant, Clooney and his regular writing partner have grafted onto the Coens' black comedy a very different kind of story, one based on real-life events that occurred in Levittown, Pennsylvania in 1957, when an African-American couple moved into an all-white suburb. In this case, the interlopers, who have dared to come and live in Suburbicon, are Mr. and Mrs. Myers, Lethem Burke and Karimar Westbrook, and their son Andy, Tony Espinosa, who's about Nicky's age. When Suburbicon's ever-smiling postman first encounters Mrs. Myers, he assumes she's the maid, and it doesn't take long before the entire community of concerned citizens has whipped itself up into a violent lather of protest against the blacks who have had the temerity to aspire to middle-class white lifestyles. This element of the film seems grafted on, and it's a long time before Clooney succeeds in making some sort of case to link the black comedy of one side of the narrative with the grim racism of the other. It's as though you're watching two very different films, awkwardly blended together. That said, there's a great deal to enjoy in Suburbicon, not least the remarkable performance from young Noah Jupe as the innocent kid who begins to suspect his beloved dad is a murderer. Isaac's brief appearances are also sheer delight, and Clooney's good at propelling the action along, papering over the material's shortcomings. There's a sly, satirical touch to much of the film, but in the end, you rather wish the director had concentrated on the Coen brothers' side of the story and made the story of the Myers into another movie altogether. 3.5 stars.